You ready for Hollywood? Bond. James Bond. Oh, hello there. I am Stan the Movie Man, and this is my review of Rampage. It stars Dwayne Johnson, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Naomi Harris, Malin Ackerman, and more. It is the story of primatologist David Okoye, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He is over the primatology section at the San Diego Zoo. He has this primate, a gorilla, that he has raised since the age of approximately 2 years, when that gorilla's family was butchered by a bunch of poachers. He was part of a team of anti-poaching soldiers, and he rescued the gorilla that he calls George. George is an albino gorilla, and very rare. Now, George is meandering around the enclosure at the San Diego Zoological Park, or whatever they decided to call it in the movie, and this thing falls out of the sky. It is a canister from a space station. The space station was being used by a company called Energene, that is run by the brother and sister family, the Widens. The leader of them is Malin Ackerman, and they're working on a project involving genetic manipulation using CRISPR, the gene editing device that has been in the news fairly frequently. This project is to, I'm not exactly sure what it's for. They don't exactly explain it, but they're testing it on animals, and the animals get big, they mutate, and they become very, very aggressive. And the canister that fell out of the sky from the space station, because one of the test subjects got big and destroyed the space station, it falls into the gorilla enclosure, and George finds it. It sprays him with something, and he begins to grow. One of them falls out into the west, and a wolf finds it, and it begins to grow. And one falls into the Everglades, and an alligator finds it, and it begins to grow. The Widens that run Energene have a plan to bring the animals into Chicago, where they believe the military will kill them. They'll collect samples, and they'll be able to continue their research for some unknown purpose. But Davis Okoye hooks up with a former Energene researcher named Dr. Kate Caldwell, played by Naomi Harris, and they work together to try to figure out a way to, if not reverse the effects of the genetic manipulation, then they are going to try to figure out a way to at least rein these animals in. Of course, this movie is based on an old console video game of the same name, Rampage, and it actually appears in the background of one of the shots of the film. This is a really big, dumb, loud movie, and George has far more personality as a character than any of the humans in the cast. He speaks sign language. He communicates with Davis that way. And of course, I think a lot more effort was put into designing and creating and developing the digital characters, as opposed to the human characters. They are all pretty much just types, archetypes, including Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays a governmental official. We never really quite sure what part of the government he is in, Agent Russell, who at first is antagonistic and then becomes friendly with Davis as the animals continue to grow and as they're heading towards Chicago. and they are becoming more and more destructive. It's a silly movie. It has some nice moments in it, and as I said, George is a far more interesting character than any of the humans. Unfortunately, George doesn't get a lot of screen time except at the very beginning and the very end. Um, and the parts between the very beginning and the very end are the weakest parts because that's when all the CG destruction occurs. Um, it, it's just silly and mindless and loud, and it's okay, but it isn't anything that I'm really excited about. It's fine. I'm going to give it 3 stars simply because it exists. It isn't offensive. There are a few laughs in it, but I wish the movie'd been more about George as opposed to the machinations of the Widens and the effort to get Davis and Kate to Chicago, and it's just overly complicated. It didn't need to be. Granted, they're trying to fill the running time of a wide release film, but it's fine. 3 stars. Go to stanthemovieman.com to read my complete review. Listen to The Fractured Frame. You can check that out on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and pretty much any place else that you listen to podcasts. It's a couple of friends of mine and I sitting around talking about the latest in movie, TV, entertainment news in general. You can follow me on Twitter at MovieManStan, and you can send your emails to me, stanthemovieman123 at gmail.com. Till next time, later.